the way they voted because they want to see soundness in this community. We live here, we have vested interest here. The senior community here is looking to be able to retire in the homes they paid for and made nice, and nothing on the personal level. I really don't know you, all of you, that well. I ran into you recently, Carla, and we were cordial. The world has become not nice. Sorry, I get emotional. I don't know who knows my background, but I was involved with 9/11, and the not nice in this world was the cause of that 9/11. People, because their views were too askew to what we believe in, they decided that that was what they were going to do. You are all, prior to what, I don't know what day changed the people's opinions about you guys. I can't even say that but I know that something happened and changed your opinion where you are okay with the fact that not all the community, but a good majority of the community disagrees with you. And I'm not saying that you're not nice. I'm not saying that you're not. No one has been nice in this. And if we don't go back to being nice, it's sad for our children. There's parents in this room, they're going to lose their children over what happened on 9/11 because we stopped being nice. And like his appeal, it has nothing to do with you people as people. It has completely to do with what needs to be done to go back to being nice. We have to live in this community. We have a real small community that we can do a lot of good in. And I would just like to see someone, hopefully all five of the board members, everyone in this room, to go back to being nice and make a decision today, and let's put this behind us. And I want to do something that hasn't been done in board meetings. Appreciate the time and effort that you guys have put in. There's a difference in opinion. It's no reason not to be nice. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Isolano. We'll go down. Katrina, did you? On the back row, everyone. Ms. Slaughter.
Katrina Slaughter, I would just like to say that I support Mike Kelly's suggestion of on this board, simply for the reason that it puts our children and staff's best interest first. That's what we're here for.
Thank you, Ms. Slaughter. John, what did you want to say? Tim?
No, thanks.
Okay. We'll start with Maria.
Hi, my name is Maria Nawak. I've been in the community for 18 years, and I have raised two kids who moved Golden Valley. I know Mike Kelly very well, and they match very well, as I work close with them to make sure that my kids got the best education as teachers. Thank you very much. I was very involved when Golden Valley was accepted. I'm going to tell you something. They didn't have a middle school. They didn't have bathrooms. They didn't have a lot of things that everybody wanted. Special ed at the time was an issue. And yes, I had my kids in special ed. And special ed will always be an issue. But the one thing that I was always committed to was to talk to my teachers, disagree with my teachers, and come to a middle ground with my teachers. And the good thing about the board members, thank you for those who are here, allowed me to have a relationship with my teachers. They did not micromanage them. They did not turn every stone to find everything wrong with them. And they made sure that I, as a parent, had the power to be able to have a say in what my teachers did with my kids. And I thank you guys for that. And I thank you, past board members, for that as well. There was a lot wrong. To put the middle school in with high school was not a good idea, but we learned from that. And we all went forward and did what we were supposed to do together. And we did it by listening to each other, by having conversation and dialogue, and by being creative and innovative. And that's what made the school district amazing. And that's why I love Andy Alvarado. But you know what? We will be fine without him, and so I'm over that. And he will be fine without us, so I'm over it. But what has continued to happen since I saw what has happened, is that I don't have dialogue anymore. And what I see from parents is that they can't have dialogue with their teachers, and that the teachers can't do their job. And to wait another year and not have the stability for our teachers to know what's going to happen is a shame. A shame for our children, a shame for our parents, a shame for the community. So I ask you guys to look at that date again. It's not arbitrary in the sense that it's not important for our kids. And I'm sorry that you think an issue this big is so arbitrary, Carla. I'm sorry. But it is inevitable, so there's no reason to wait. So please reconsider the date and let what's going to happen happen. You know what? It's a 50-50. You know, you guys might still be sitting on that chair, and that's fine. If that's what happens, I'm good with it. But let it happen. Okay? If it does, I promise to support you guys, and I promise to look to see what is important for our children. And if you still think that our Branch Hills Middle School needs a bathroom in the middle of the soccer fields, then fine. That's the way we'll go. Thank you.
Thank you. Would you like to speak next?
Yeah, my name is Joanne Doss. I've been a resident here since '88. And my question is, I agree with what a lot of the other people have said, and my question is to all of you on the date. Really, we need to move forward before the school year starts. What difference is a month going to make? Here or there, like I said, you guys could still end up on the board. So I don't know, and I would really like to hear your reasoning, since you've already made it up before you got here, the reasoning on that date. Why pick that date instead of in August before school starts? And if you would be willing to answer that, I would appreciate that.
I don't think we're going to answer that, Ms. Doss. But I would
And
like
that just amazes me. I try to be open and keep my mind open about all this stuff that has gone on that I've been watching. I haven't said much.
Well,
and I've been listening and listening. And I am not I'm not hearing anything positive coming out of this.
well, this is your time to speak, and that is, you know, and usually at board meetings we allow the public to speak. We are not legally required by law to answer or have a debate. I apologize, just hold on. But before we move on past you, Mrs. Doss, I apologize. Would you like to speak?
Yes, I would.
Because
I'm sorry.
I would like you to go ahead because you.
Oh, yes. Sandra Torrey, resident here in the Ranchos for 12 years plus. I assumed you passed me over since I am not a U.S. citizen, therefore I do not have a vote, but I do pay taxes. And as a taxpayer and a grandmother of a child that will be going through these schools, I do have an opinion, and it is, I shouldn't be passed up. So I thought maybe you would just pass me up because of our prior dialogues. If you feel by holding off until September 1st, maybe you can gain a little more popularity, a few more votes, then by all means do so. That seems to be the only reason to hold out. I do prefer Mr. Kelly's idea of getting this over and done with the least disruption to the school campuses. However, I'm starting to think I actually kind of favor September 1st, because that will give me time to get my citizenship and my vote. And I
Mr. Addington, would you like to speak?
Sure. Well, first of all, I don't begrudge anybody for having their own opinion about it, because God knows I got my own opinions about stuff. So I agree that we're going to disagree here. Voting, the people's vote for you guys in office, I guess I'll just say my piece, because I'm going to say my piece next. So here's the deal, is we put you guys in charge by the vote, and you get that. But part of an elected official in this country is to listen to the people to some degree. And I think the biggest problem we have here is that there's a lot of people that don't feel like you guys are listening. At least 70 people stayed out of work today, for whatever excuse we're making for not being here. Some of us maybe aren't working, but but I'm supposed to be at work right now. A lot of people are supposed to be at work right now. I'm not sure why we're having this discussion not on a Tuesday night, but that's another mystery. The biggest thing I'm concerned about is, well, two things I'm biggestly concerned about is this, is financially, finances in this district. We have wasted so much money through Amy's dismissal that we begged her not to do, that all the different things that have happened, now the recall election, that we feel, compelled to do. It's just such a loss of money for me. It's like, anytime, I mean, I'm not a rich man. If I like to use my money in ways that are good, that are memorable, that help people, or whatever it is. And I just feel like we've wasted all this money. It's just so sad. And I think the community's falling apart as far as relationships. There's people that are against each other. And it's so not ranchos. And I so love the idea of this gentleman over here talking about being nice. It's just, I get that we have different viewpoints. But when elected officials don't listen to their people, the people come along and they want to do something about it. You guys, as elected officials, have the ability to do whatever you want. And you've shown that that's what you want to do. But with this thing, it's involving the children and pushing it off any longer. I mean, Mr. Moseley said he could push it, he'd love to push it further. I don't know how long you can push the recall back. But I'm just saying, like, before school starts, so we can have a fresh school year, whether you all be in charge or whether someone else is in charge, just seems the best to me. And I don't have any bones in this election. I don't have any kids next year in the school district. But as far as just what makes sense and the waste and the heartache and everything else, I don't understand why you wouldn't want to get this done before school starts and then just start fresh. Because if you all make it through the recall, I will support you. I'll whatever. That's what the community wants. And you'll still see me at board meetings, even though my kids aren't in this district.
Thank you, Mr. Addington. Mr. Roth.
I didn't think I was going to say anything, but now I think I will. I'm still getting a phone call from you, Kathleen, to take me to lunch that you said you do at that one board meeting. We're not done that yet. So I'm still waiting. I'll still go lunch with you.
Carl, you live right by me, and you drive in front of my house every day, and we wave. Stop by.
I just thought we were going to go somewhere.
You're welcome. You're welcome
Wait a minute,
to my
that's a
house.
separate issue.
And I would be more than happy to buy you lunch.
What's that?
And I would be more than happy to buy you lunch.
It would be even better. I just spoke
I think
fun
so.
levity, Kathleen. So
It's
please
okay.
don't take
We'll
offense.
always be friends, Carl.
Okay, good. I'm hold to that.
We will.
So don't
No
take
matter what.
offense at this. Here's the deal. This is so far beyond Andy and the superintendent being gone. So please don't hear any of that in me. I don't know about, but probably most other people, we're far beyond it. I have a leadership bias. That means I'm tilted towards leadership. And here's one thing I know about leadership. I want the whole board to understand this. And it's a real simple leadership law. Is that good leaders create peace out of chaos. And poor leadership creates chaos in times of peace. And it seems as though the board as a whole, and Mr. Hatch, you're including this now as the soup, and I would hope that you would have some things to say towards this whole thing as well, as our leader. You got a great opportunity to exhibit great leadership and great peace in this time of chaos. My perception is that you're helping to perpetuate chaos, and that's just not good leadership. And it has nothing to do with the Andy deal. That's done. That ship has sailed. No big deal. He knows coming in, you got the power to fire him. You know coming in, you got the power to fire him. And that's what it played out. And it is what it is. But at this point now, what you're saying is that you've accepted the mantle of leadership to lead on before the voice of the community, for the best for the kids, secondarily the best for the teachers. What the kids have said, well, I don't know about the kids, definitely what the teachers have said. And what we have asked as parents and constituents is do this sooner than later. I got 2 kids going to be at Liberty next year. I got a wife who teaches who is directly affected by your decisions. And because she and they are, I'm affected by it. And the perpetuation of chaos is maddening. And so you've been asked by the teachers, you've been asked by parents, that you're supposed to have the mantle of leadership on our behalf to do it sooner than later, before school starts. If the recall, the vote is going to happen. If you guys continue in leadership, fantastic. No problem. But my expectation then will be what it is now. That you lead well. And continue to perpetuate peace in times of chaos rather than chaos in times of peace. And I don't see that as what you're doing. I would love to hear not why you think the later date is best. Tell me why an earlier date is worse.
Did you want to?
So, I'm not going to ask you in public to define arbitrary, but for the group, just so we're all kind of in unity on what that means, if you would, stop and say, anyone on the board here, did anyone say, here's the reason why I want a date? The logic behind, clearly thought out, clearly communicated to the group. The only person up there that did that was Mike. So he's the only one not being arbitrary. You being arbitrary, saying September because, summer's over, that's pretty arbitrary. Summer what? What does summer mean? Summer means that's when our kids come back from school, so they're going to be in the middle of this recall process. Secondarily, and I think most of us up here that talked said, hey, the recall's going to happen. It's a done deal. The date's coming. The vote's coming. Your guys' responsibility now is to make the best of that situation for your community, not for yourself. So stop and ask yourself, do you feel confident that what you're doing is right and that you have supporting community? If you do, then what matters? What weight do you put on a date? Put your money where your mouth is. Set the date sooner, because that's what's right for the kids, not what's right for you.
Shelley, did you want to speak? Michelle.
I have a couple things to say. Going back to what's right for the kids, setting this date in September, we all know, yes, we're back at school. Anytime there's an election, you've got election material, you've got people's passions are running high. So by setting it later, all you're doing is drawing the kids in. And I have heard out of your mouths many times, shame on you for bringing kids in when kids have come up and spoken about this and different issues. So I just say shame on you. Now you are drawing the kids in because there's going to be almost, a 20-day period where all of this is going to be going on. When kids are back in school, they are going to be in the midst of all of this. On the date of the election, you think there isn't going to be buzz in the community that day on both sides? You're wrong. And so you are absolutely putting all of these kids right in the face of this election. And shame on you for the added stress you're putting on our teachers and our administration. They are absolutely weighed down by this. And again, this is not about Andy, this is just about resolution. We've got Kevin leading us now. That's great. He's fabulous. He's done amazing things in this district. Give our teachers some peace. Let them move forward and not stop having this weight that is on them with everything that's going on. They don't have any voices. They can't, they're not confident speaking. This room would have been packed had you not picked this morning intentionally to do this meeting. Also, Stephen couldn't be here because, as you know, he's got previous work commitments every Friday morning. But again, it didn't matter. As per your words, we only need 3. Those were your words at the last board meeting. So I just say, shame on you. Put someone else besides yourselves first in this. Think about the community. Think about the kids. Put your personal agendas down and let us move forward.
Ms. Laurenti, would you like to speak?
One thing that I've observed with this board, you've all taken an enormous amount of time to serve our community. So one thing that I'm seeing is you dig your feet in, this is the date, and there's no compromise. Being on a board is, you have to compromise sometimes. So with this election date, early August, or early September, meet in the middle. It's 5 days after school starts, August 18th. It's not the ideal date, but you're giving a little, they're giving a little. Meet in the middle.
Thank you.
My name is Emily Champion, I'm a teacher at to be here during my prep period so that I could, at least have a bit of a voice unlike so many of our teachers this morning. So I'm hoping it gets wrapped up so I can make it to third period. From my perspective, this has been so stressful. It has been such a distraction. It has diminished our morale, and we're doing really darn good despite all of it. But I can't stress enough how much we need this done. We need it done. Teachers are back on campuses beginning of August. I'm in a training August 4th. School when we have to report is August 10th. But we do our travels, we do our recuperation, that sort of thing, June and July. And we're back, and it would certainly be a benefit to the teachers, which will then be a benefit to our students, to have it past us. And so I just encourage you to please consider it. Those of us that are living it every day, it's almost more than we can bear sometimes.
Mr. Freeman.
Yeah, I'd like to say that any date before school starts is an obvious choice unless you think this doesn't have effect on the kids' district. Get this thing over and done before school starts. And if you think, make excuses, I think the only excuse I could think of, if I was sitting up there making this choice, was that people are on vacation and maybe they won't be able to express their opinion on the subject. But as a person who's run for office in this district, I can say this out loud. Most of the people in this district are absentee for ballots, permanent. And whether or not they're on vacation, they will have a month of their life to sit around and look at their ballot and make their decisions. So if that's the excuse, that's a poor excuse. And on a personal note, as my wife works for this district, and at this site specifically, I have listed over there's a lot of stress on them. And the sooner this is done, the sooner that stress is taken off, the sooner they can move on, making sure they're focused on the job ahead of them, which is to educate the kids of this district.
Thank you, Mr. Freeman. Ms. Jackson.
I wasn't going to say anything, but I am going to say this. You're telling us now that you're going to do this in August. Here's my concern. Next week, our kids are starting their testing. Many of us aren't going to be happy with the fact that you're waiting until September to do this. If the teachers' morale is affected, that's trickling down to our students, that's trickling down to our parents. Funding's tied to how our kids do on these tests. We have 3 sites that are program improvement. Funding now, because of what Governor Brown did, our funding is going to be reduced. We're going to spend $20,000 for this re-election. We paid Andy out for $150,000, and I get very upset because I've always tried to support what goes on out here. I am very concerned that most of us are going to walk out of here today knowing that you put it off until September when it could have been done. We could start fresh in the school year with everything settled. The morale for the kids, it's there. I like the fact that on Monday when they start testing, we're all going to walk out of there a little bit upset about the decision you made, that you basically told us. You're telling us we can give our opinion. Our opinion at this point, I'm going to be honest, I don't even think it matters. You've made your decision. We're going to do it after school starts. We're going to start the school year where it's still negative, people not liking people aren't being so nice. And my kid's going to go in on Monday and he's supposed to take a test from a teacher, and the teachers have been wonderful. Who's under stress, administrators are under stress, and you feel good about that as an elected official. I don't understand how you can feel good about that. You're not representing the people, you're representing yourself.
Amen.
Mr. Gorman, would you like to say something?
I'm Bill Gorman. Been in the Rancho since 1980. Had 2 kids through Madera Unified, and then when we turned into Golden Valley. If you really think that you have enough backing from the community to not resign, then move the election up. If you already have this figured out, that it's going to work, and you're going to be reelected, why wait? Why wait? If you don't think you do the right thing, resign. It's very simple. There's no reason to push this off. There's no business. Really, I was a technician a long time, and I really do kind of believe in it's either this or that. It's either fixed or it's broke. It's broke right now. It's broke real bad. If you think that you have the backing, all three of you, of your areas, then move the election forward and get this moving on. If you don't, do the right thing, resign.
Thank you, Mr. Bailey. Would you like to say anything? No. Mr. Toole.
Oh yes, my name's Mark Toole, and as most of you know, I'm a past board member. And a couple of things about today. Not all special meetings were held in the morning. I've been attending board meetings since 2006. I've probably attended 75–80% of them meetings without being on the board. But right now, my concern is the morale of teachers. It looks like we have an exodus of teachers from the high school. I am told right now that there, what do we have, 26 teachers at the high school. And as of Tuesday night, I believe it's going to be a total of 8 resignations, more on the way. That's, what, over 30% teachers leaving. And a lot of it, I believe, is due to the leadership being involved. The morale of the teaching staff is down. The morale of the students are down. And the leadership, when somebody stands up there and says, they don't have to let the public speak, that's complete ignorance of the Brown Act. I've seen several violations of that throughout since November. And Carla, yes, the people did speak in November, and under our democratic process, if the people feel they made a mistake, they have the right to speak again.
Always. Thank you, Mr. Toole. Mario's parents, I'm sorry. Would you like to speak? Would you like to speak? Yeah.
You know what? I'm just disappointed in you. That's all I have to say. On behalf of this community, you're out of control.
Mr. Bailey, would you like to speak?
The only question I would ask is on February 3rd, we had the Andy meeting. Close to 400 or 500 people showed up and expressed that they wanted a different outcome. You guys walked out, came back, boom, you're done. With everything people are saying today, is it going to change Mr. Moseley's motion today? Is there any chance of what they're saying can have an impact on it? That's it.
Thank you.
Well, I think it's basically it's falling on deaf ears right now, so I don't think I'm going to say much. But what concerns me the most is what's the hidden agenda? Because by carrying this out, what kind of damage do you want to do to the district before you depart? Because the votes are there, the numbers are there. That concerns me the most right now. What is the hidden agenda that you want to accomplish from now to September 1st that will take this district down even further? And that has great concern for me right now.
Thank you, Mr. Raskin. The next little, is that a child? I'm sorry.
My name is Christy Harvey, and my concern is, honestly, Kathleen, I thought you were my representative. Come to find out it's Carla, which I've never even seen it. Never seen it. I've always thought it was you. So if I have an issue, I would go to you before I can go to my representative, which isn't good. But second of all, my son's teacher just resigned, which affects my kid. My kid's not even going to Webster next year. He's getting homeschooled because of you guys. And there's a lot of parents that are starting to homeschool now because of that. And thank God my daughter's a senior, so she doesn't have to go without Hammy. So what I'm asking today is, can you guys just, out of respect for everyone here, can you guys just resign, at least one of you? That gives enough respect to the community to maybe let you guys back on. At least you're listening to us.
Would you like to speak? Yeah.
Me?
Yeah. And state your name.
Yeah, my name is Rob Hansen. We moved in here from outside the district because the school was awesome. I've got 2 kids in Sierra View out there, just young guys. And yeah, I actually kind of interesting because I kind of come out from a business mind. because that's kind of what I do. I actually run 2 companies of my own and look over quite a bit of funds from other people. And I'm also on board, just like you guys. So this meeting terrifies me if our board ever screwed up this bad. So here's where I am with it, even from the very beginning. I was talking to my wife about it, and I said, the problem I'm having with this whole process is I just can't figure out the reason. I don't care what you want to do. It'll be fine. But right now, I still just can't figure out the reason. You have voters that go to your place, right? And your voters, I was the first one that was public flogging. And now I'm at this one, it's again. And I'm thinking, you're writing an essay up there, Moseley. You're writing an essay up there, so listen to the face. So when your constituents are voting for you, you have the responsibility to listen to them. To listen. That's easy. They put you there because they thought you were a good person to put that position. But if they're coming to you and telling you, you should resign, you should not do this, you should not do this, if you get a big enough voice, you really should start listening. And the problem is, it's just like you said, well, you didn't talk much. It's deaf ears. I'm going to walk out of this meeting, it's going to be on September 1st. That's what it's going to be. And, you know, so my issue is, right now I'm sitting here thinking, is there a reason? Is it are is it just ignorance? Because there's only 2 options left.
Sociopath.
That's all I have. The only 2 options I have left for you guys.
Maria. My name is Maria Pavlis. I lived here since 1981. I went through Webster. We did not have a high school or a junior high. I had to bus to Madera. So I really love this school, and I have a son that goes here now, and this is really disappointing. I think you guys really need to start listening. You guys are up there for a reason. It's about the people, personal agenda items.
Thank you. Pam, would you like to say something? Kim? Candy.
I'm Candy Hall. I've lived out here since 1989. I have 2 daughters. Julia went through RNS and then went to University High because it was a better choice for her. We chose to have Grace be here at Liberty. I am acquaintances, and I was a friend, as many of you on board. I have many friends who have differences of opinions about Andy, about special ed, about how this whole thing has happened, and even about being nice, and how nasty everybody has been on both sides. But what strikes me is we're all talking about our opinions. I drove my daughter to Valley Children's yesterday, and she said, well, what are you doing tomorrow before the track meet, Mom? And I said, I'm going to a special board meeting. And she said, why? I said, this is to set the recall election. She said, the recall election for the 3? And I said, yes. And she goes, so when do you think they're going to do it? I said, the latest possible date. And she said, you know, Mom, this is how I feel and my friends feel. They don't care about it. They care about whatever their personal agenda is. They don't care that we're losing our principal. We're losing up to 8 teachers. They don't care that our lives are disrupted every day, not just at the school site, but at home, because your families are upset about all this. I'm sure your children are affected by this every day. I see Gavin at track meets, and I say hi, I talk to him, he gets juice boxes out of my cooler. I've never, always been kind. Always been kind to Faith. Faith also talks to me. I know your children. The sad part is, out of all of this, our kids are suffering. And my daughter has her senior year next year. And the saddest part is to see how all the trusted teachers are leaving. Her trusted principal is leaving. What is she going to have? And her senior year does not need to start off with chaos on a September 1st date. I would ask for my child, for your children, that you pick office, and you pick the beginning office, just to make it easier on all of them, and us. And if you get reelected, if you don't get recalled, I will support you. Absolutely.
If I get recalled, will you support me?
I will support Kathleen.
Because I know you will, because we'll always be friends.
Well, I don't know that. I've been.
We will be friends.
Okay.
No matter what.
We will talk about that.
We will. And we'll have lunch together too.
But it comes down to this. This is about our children. And it's, the little ones are being affected, but the little ones, okay, have a popsicle, they run away. It's
different.
Well, true. Okay. But the high school and junior high kids are aware enough to know what's going on. And especially the juniors and seniors, they know. And they're losing teachers that are awesome teachers. Miss Smith, we don't need to lose her.
Sorry.
Thank you.
The gentleman.
My name is Brian Eager. I'm a resident in Madera Rancho. I also have a child that attends the school out here. One thing I want to ask, regardless whether we're for or against this recall, we need to put this to bed because we're losing teachers. And that's the one thing that the residents out here in this community pride themselves on is our school district. When we lose teachers, regardless whether that's why they're going or not, it's not a good thing. And you guys have the opportunity right now to step up, do the right thing, and make this before the school. We can make this past the school, we may lose more teachers, and that's not good. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you.
Wayne Kessler, and my only comment would be the fact that I agree with several people here that you should, one, resign because all three of you ran on the platform that you were doing something good for the kids. I don't see anything good coming from that.
No, Heather Franson.
Heather Franson, I've been in the district for 15 years. I have 7 children. 4 of them are special ed. Mr. Hanson, we still have a wonderful school district. We have wonderful schools. We have wonderful teachers. Nothing has changed in that regard. Yes, summer's leaving, and that's very unfortunate. I had the privilege to talk with Mr. Kelly a few weeks ago about how previous boards have failed a marginalized population of our students. So Mona, every school board has not done exactly what they should have done for our schools and for our students. That's the nature of the game, okay? So we can't just blame the school board for doing terrible things because previous boards have not been perfect either, okay? Mr. Isolano, I fully agree with being nice, but part of being nice, and I'm not in this recall district. Luckily, I don't have to vote. Thankfully, I don't have to vote. So part of this recall issue is to let the process work. And we don't know who is talking to this board and saying, we need you in this board, please wait as long as possible. Because the people in this room are not the only people to speak to these people up here. So what I would encourage this board to do is to compromise on a date. You want the first Tuesday, you want the last Tuesday. Pick a middle Tuesday and get it done. If our children are being impacted by this, maybe it's what this board has done that is causing us to impact our children. Discussions at home, discussions at school. We have control at home to determine what our children hear and what they don't hear. My children don't know anything about this recall except for they hear at school. Because we don't discuss this in front of my children. But this is a great lesson to teach our children of the democratic process. Whether you like it or not, it's the process. And as long as it remains a legal process, it's a great lesson. We don't always like what's going on all the time. But it is a process. And thank God we live in this country where we can respect that process and live by that process. And that's a lesson for our kids instead of all this hate. That's going to impact our kids, not the vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Heather.
I'm lived out in Rancho since '88. Our sons went through. I'm also what's called a staff room teacher. I go to all the different school districts throughout Madera County. So I've seen other boards operate, and this is appalling. Very unusual. I've never seen this before in all my 30 years of teaching. And I'm disappointed by the loss of potential leadership. And I think the sooner the better, and I like the idea of resignation. Trying to make it be better for us.
Thank you very much. And could you state your name?
Deborah Hanchett. As a growing up out here, both my husband and I were both Webster, and we had to be bused. And so when we had children, we decided that we were going to raise them in this district, because now we have the middle school and the high school. And if you guys don't think it doesn't affect the kids, my son just texted me from the field out there going, "What the heck is going on over at Ed Hoff? What is going on? Why are there so many cars? What are you doing there?" And so, I mean, if you don't think it doesn't affect them, they're all wondering, maybe some of them know, but, I just told them I was at a meeting. But it does affect them. And they were very, very upset with the loss of Andy and some of their teachers. And, it is what it is, but, hopefully you guys can come to a mutual agreement on it.
Thank you, Mrs. Moshe. 1 minute, no, you don't want to speak at the door? No. Okay, then we will move on to Audrey. Nice to see you, Audrey.
Some of you know who I am. I helped to establish this school district and was on the first school board that got our Liberty High School, and then on the next school board, and I've worked to get our middle school. Being on the school boards, I felt was a direct privilege. And if anybody thinks it's easy, I just ask you to try and be on the school board for a while and see what it's like. It's 24/7, and you don't get summers off. That was a surprise to me because I'm a retired school district, or a retired school teacher. I went through something that was kind of similar to this in Fresno Unified when they decided to strike. It divided the teachers, it divided the students, it divided the community. And I want to tell you that to this day, and that was many years ago, there are some people that are still angry at each other for taking one side or the other. Being on the school board is a privilege. A privilege to represent the people of the community. If you don't listen to your community, then who are you going to listen to? Because the community is what puts you in your position. This is so disturbing to me. I just don't know what exactly to say to make it any clearer that the chaos that has come from this has divided our community, and that makes me angry. And I really, truly think that you should very, very seriously think about resigning. I know that would be a very difficult decision to make. But I think if you really think of what's best for the community, resignation would be the best way. Then you can put the whole thing behind you, and the community can get on with being the best Golden Valley Unified in the whole Madera County.
Would you like to speak? And could you say your name?
My name is Laura Addington. I've got a bad leg, so I don't really want to know. I really don't want to speak. I don't like speaking in front of people, but I just feel like I have a responsibility to have my voice be heard. And I just want to say how much all of this has saddened me. I have worked in Rancho since 1995, and I've lived here since 1999. This is my community, and this is my home. And as my husband has stated, we don't have any children that will be in the district. This is my last one's graduating. But this is still my home, and there are many children in this community that I love and care for and work with. And I care a great deal for them. And so I do still have, I think, a very big vested interest in this. I guess I'm just very saddened that this much damage has been done to our community. And I'm not sure, for both you, Mr. Moseley, and you, Mrs. Neal, how your very third board meeting ever, you could feel you would go enough of what's going on already to have this big of a decision made already. And that saddens me. To not have gotten more information and to learn a little more of how the board actually works and runs before this huge decision was made. I've just seen a great deal of harm and damage coming to our teachers and the children of our district. And if you honestly, as you said, want what's best for the children, I feel that it would be best to get this done and over with as quickly as possible. Might as well rip the Band-Aid off quick and have it done so healing can take place. Whatever that looks like. But I just want to put on the record, I think it would be best to have this done and over as quickly as possible and let our community move on and move forward and build and grow and heal.
Charlie, you don't want to speak? Okay. And could you state?
I want to speak.
Could you say your name?
My name is Lisa Elby. I've been in the Ranchers for about 10 years, and unlike my good friend Laura, I have no problem speaking in front of you. And I'm happy to do so. I have 3 children in this district.